Previously on the Type R Journey 2021 series, we managed to scrape the exterior down to its original paint while prepped it up for its actual job. Then we took her to RevTech Garage for engine removal, further assessment, and right off the bat, correct the firewall conversion. We then moved to its underbelly paint job, picked championship white instead of gray, proper left-hand drive steering conversion, cleaned the engine, then took her to its next stop, the actual paint job. Hey guys, welcome back to the series. It took me a while to upload this third one, but big thanks for the wait. So, right now, you're probably wondering, why does he move the car a lot? Well, first things first, I don't have the proper area and tools to work on it, neither the time to do everything myself. So the best course of action would be to let the professionals do it, while closely monitoring the quality of their job, of course. So back to it, we finally arrived at the Temple Garage. Took notice of those screeching noises while towing, so most likely my wheel bearings need to be replaced. But before we set her for its, say, sort of surgical bed, I took a last look and imagined what she would look like on white. And I tell you, it's a very exciting moment. Now, imagine a championship white EK9. Man, it's just the dream. Although there are other rare colors to choose from, but history is history, baby. More on that later. Now, I think it's quite too late to do anything, so we wrapped it up, checked everything if it's there, called it a night, and, well, tomorrow is another day. But when tomorrow came, it was a rainy day. Like raining very hard, rainy day. But goals are goals, so time to get to work. We started off by manually sanding down the engine bay as a preparation for some anti-corrosive primer since this portion would be the most vulnerable. It's an intensive job, so it's going to take a while. Working with the Beam Paintworks team, these guys on the spot took the challenge of a thorough job, so I trust them. Well, they are actually one of the best here in our city. After that preparation, they then proceed on the anti-corrosive zinc-based primer. Looks clean, right? Well, it's also protected, and that is just how we want it to be. Aside from the primer, I had this portion covered with some epoxy. It's actually bare metal when you remove the factory sealant, and this area here is where the water passes, so we very much can't risk it rusting, especially that it had a firewall conversion. I mean, honestly, welded portions are just so prone to rust. They also had to do the same job on this side. Every portion has to be protected. And this is what she looks like without that protection. Very, very, very risky. Well, now it looks like the engine bay is done and is ready for its primer. I really can't say anything bad about those guys. I mean, they do the job pretty quick and pretty well. So, on this side though, the inner side or the interior side of the firewall, it also needs some TLC. Also need to remove this sealing because it is very mint and we can't risk it having, getting dirty during the paint job. Just some final checkup if it's really ready, and it is really ready. Now it's time for the actual primer, while of course taking off the sealing. It's starting to look very nice, off with the green paint and yellow. Amazing. And here's another surprise. The sealing is just so perfect. I mean, look at it. It's still on its original paint. No scratches, well, except for the pillars. And come to think of it, I think I can smell some Japanese dust on it. Note to self, EK9, very, very fresh. And judging by its condition, I think that ever since Japan, they have never ever removed these sealings, so I think I'm the first one to ever remove it. Interesting, really. Would you look at that? An original factory championship white, covered for like 24 years. Amazing, huh? Now that the engine bay is done with its primer, time to inspect it. And as usual, they did a good job. So just after that, they went on to painting the interior part of the firewall. Same treatment as always. And while they're doing that, I went on to purchase the championship white paint. Yes, we don't have the fancy mixing stuff, but I have actually researched the proper formula for this brand of paint to get the championship white. So that's white, yellow, black, and add some red orange. Mix it up together and you get 100% championship white. There you go. Don't tell anybody. Now that it's all mixed up, it is time for the proper paint job. Hold on, I got the wrong file, sorry. Kidding aside, though we do not have the factory standards or the machineries and the computers to do it, we just have to make do of what we have. So no matter what kind of process, as long as we do it the best we can, I think it still counts. So the big question, why I chose the championship white? So let me explain further.
What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
1965, the year Honda made history when they won their very first podium at the Mexico Grand Prix. Not bad for a company known for building motorcycles. With its research and development, they managed to achieve, well, the power of dreams. And with that, the ivory white high-revving 230 brake horsepower machine became the root of its iconic championship white paint. That same formula was then passed on to its consumer-based sports car, the NSX Type R or NSXR. And with the F1 experience, they poured their racing knowledge to this lady, resulting to a more efficient high-revving engine, and that includes the variable valve timing or VTEC baby. Other than that, they also graced her with a lovely Momo steering wheel with, of course, the red H button. It also features the yellow needles on a carbon fiber gauge cluster, a bare aluminum shift knob which feels like the ring of power when parked under the sun, and the red Alcantara wrapped Recaro bucket seat. Aside from the freebies or goodies, the car itself was adjusted to be more rigid and more stable on the track. Oh, and let's not forget the iconic wrinkled red engine valve cover with screens. Type Rs are very fond of screens, or mesh, whatever people call it. So, in 1995, the Integra Type R is finally born. It boasts, as usual, a more rigid and stable body, powered by a B18C with, of course, the iconic red valve cover. They also included an NK rims, same as the other one, and it's gotta be white, red Recaro seats, Momo steering wheel, carbon fiber gauge cluster, and aluminum shift knob. With the same concept in mind, they improved the Integra into a more efficient, faster, and more rigid sports car. Then came 1997. Finally, the EK9 is born. It boasts the same concept down from the NSX-R to the Integra Type R, and now this. The very first, or what they call Zenki Civic Type R. It was made with the same concept as the previous ones, such as red carpets, Momo steering wheel, carbon fiber gauge clusters with yellow needles, of course, some badges, and of course the aluminum shift knob. On top of that, the red Recaro Alcantara wrap bucket seat. But these are just all the goodies. The best part is the stiffer chassis, a more efficient engine equals to maximum performance, all for the Type R badge. It's all about red and whites, baby. Red and whites. So after all those presentations just to explain why I chose this color, safe to say, a little homage for Honda's dedication is also one of my, well, good reasons. And also I'm just trying to stick to the main goal. It's a restoration. So keeping it as original as possible is just the way to go. So after a week of diving in this project, I now have to go back to work. Again with the traveling and the sleepless nights. But the best part of this one is the fiance decided to come with me.
Thank you.
But then it started to happen.
Dig in.
I actually came here to work, but for some reason my focus is something that I left at home. The anxiety, the pressure, the excitement of knowing that they have started painting the car without me is driving me crazy. You know, it's very difficult being me not there. I can't see the progress, although I trust those guys, but you know how it feels. So after 2 weeks of hard work, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to go home. Another 7 hours of travel, but it was well worth it because I'm driving the Evo. Yes, I do have one. It's a 1997 Evo 4. I know, it's an all-wheel drive turbo. What am I doing with the Civic? Well, I gotta hand it to you. The turbo life, the all-wheel drive life is a different life. So it's another content for another video. Now I'm finally home, and what greeted me is this lovely championship white EK9. Well, mostly. The exterior chassis paint is finally done, and I'm very lucky that I got home just in time to document the rest. More content, right? Oh. Engine bay looking good. I mean, all of it is looking good. I mean, look at that. It's very shiny. But actually, one big secret. This is still the base coat. I decided to delay the final coating until everything is installed. And that would be the engine, the dashboard, the AC lines, AC system. Everything should be running perfectly before I start with the final coating. I know it's a weird plan, but just bear with me. I would love to do everything mostly myself, but since I can't, I'm saving up those things that I can do myself for when I am free to do so. I mean, you can't really bond with the car if you don't work on it yourself, right? But we need to compromise. I mean, we all know that work and life balance is pretty messed up. Also, to my surprise, the parts I ordered kept on coming. One of it is this, the fuel tank. Mine was very rusty, so I had to get another one. And some OEM parts arrived as well. I managed to score these parts from Option Hub. Go check him out, he's a good source with reasonable prices. To the point that I accidentally ordered 2 pairs of those, so these are for keeps. So now let's review the parts that I bought. I'm planning to replace a lot of worn parts, so let's start with the gasket, the water pump, the crankshaft seal. This is a package with the other one here. And the most important, the timing belt, the timing belt tensioner, the gasket, some seals over there, like this, a pair of torque mounts because mine is completely shot, FCC stock clutch. That's good enough for me. So this is just the first package. All of these are OEM and genuine Hondas. Well, except those. Yeah, the notorious fake Samco hoses, but now it's black. Also got the left-hand drive fuse box and the clutch boot cover. So that's everything, and I'm going to wait for the next package. So build a Honda, they say. It's going to be cheap, they say. It's a lie. But looking at this, I can say it's very much worth it. So I got back just in time to document the interior paint job. And looking at this wet paint, it is just so satisfying. Now I can finally say that it's again close to a legit championship white shell, or maybe just say back to its original color. But so close yet so far. I still have a lot of stuff to paint, so I'm planning to take it step by step. And oh, I still can't get over with the very mint ceiling, to the point that I decided not to have it included on the paint job, just to preserve a little Japanese era portion going on there, yeah? Once this dries up, I would automatically install the steering parts, put back all the interior brackets and wirings, then have them work on the other parts, since this is the last portion that needs to be painted. Well, except the trunk area, but nah, it's just a small thing, so onwards with the plan. Thought a lot about it, so I decided that after this chassis paint job, I will transfer the car back to RevTech Garage to have the engine installed. That also includes converting properly the wiring harness to left-hand drive. That actually is the most delicate or the most intensive job, and I trust Jadong and no one else to do it for me, since I will be leaving back to the island for another 2 weeks. And honestly, I'm not really good with engines and wiring, so there you go. But though I am far, I have been coordinating with my parts suppliers, kept on ordering and kept on searching for those parts that I need. All has to be OEM as much as possible. At this very moment, I think I have almost everything except that steering wheel. I managed to score this bumper to a friend of mine from a different city. I mean, wow, I am so lucky. Imagine finding an original EK9 Zenki bumper collecting dust in his warehouse. Very lucky. So this original bumper is quite different if you buy the Taiwan version. When I got this, it has the clips, the original bolts, everything. It is so genuine. So I took them off and I have to disassemble it to have it painted properly. The Taiwan version has these moldings here. They usually just patch it up with epoxy or some body fillers. Those plates, Taiwan doesn't have them. So there's a big difference with the genuine one. This is my wing, and this is also genuine. I got this from my other EK9. Everything is complete. It even has a fresh base with all its bolts and clips. More on that on the coming episodes. So, it is finally done, the interior paint job, and all I can say is smooth as butter. Tabibim Paint Works. What have you done, guys? Amazing. After the paint was done, I decided to start on installing back the wires and some of the bolts. Quick tip, install it right away before you start on losing it. Not just the interior, I mean the engine bay, they also did a good job. I can't wait to have that engine installed. A few days later, I wasn't able to document it. The doors are also done. Trunk is done. Or I mean the hatch. Amazing. I mean, look at that. Oh, it's starting to get together. So having some free time, I also installed some of those wirings and parts on the engine bay. Just to, save some of J-Dong's time, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna remove it again. So back at home, I discovered that the black painted shifters are actually original Type R. So I managed to scrape off those black paints, which is perfect by the way, because it's supposed to be not painted. Ka-chow! At the same time, the windshield moldings arrived and some other parts as well. Not in there though. The AC boxes just needs cleaning. It's already left-hand drive. The clutch line is part of the package. These pedals are already good, so I'm just gonna keep them. So while waiting for the other parts, let's just refresh this shifter. Just a little scrubbing and some TLC. Now it's shiny. A day later, another package arrived. It's far from Christmas, but oh boy. These came from different sellers, so let's start with the NSX button in case I don't find an OEM steering wheel. These are the antenna covers and some left-hand drive brackets for the engine bay. Brand new clutch slave and master cylinder, and the ridiculously priced roof moldings. But it's reasonable though, it's really hard to find these days. A used JDM battery tray and some bolts. Used but not abused. Works for me. Footrest and the hood rubber. So that's all for now. More are coming. So the paint job is finally done. The steering is assembled. Everything is there. It is time to move it to RevTech Garage. The most exciting part. It is finally time to install the engine, reconvert the wiring properly to left-hand drive, a la J-Dong quality, and upon loading, we scratched the under chassis. Bad luck, but we'll fix that soon. Sad to say, I will be leaving again back to the island to work. So I leave this piece of Japanese history in J-Dong's hands. And while being there, we will be coordinating to what parts that needs to be replaced. And he will be sending me updates, but he's not really fond of taking videos, so let's just try to imagine how he does it. There are a lot of engine installation videos in YouTube anyway, so yeah, go watch that. When I get back, I'm pretty sure that the engine will be in place and I will be just in time for its very first start since it's removal. Then it will also take quite a lot of time to finalize and set things up, especially the wirings. And well, it will be meticulously done, so I want him to take his time, which is also enough time for me to purchase the parts that I need. Also hoping that I will find a steering wheel. I mean, where are those, man, when you need one? Right at this very moment, the B-Beam Paintworks are already working with the bumpers, the skirts, and everything that needs to be painted. So most likely the episode 4 will be a little delayed, as expected. And just so you know, while doing this video and this project, I am also working on preparing for the K-swap, the EK hash K-swap. It has got to be twins. One beauty, which is this one, and the other one will be the beast. So it will be Tina and Ty. And now it's a wrap. So thank you so much guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like the video.